Hi everyone, this is Carol Hill. This video is about a new family search feature called Unfinished Attachments and how this can bring new discoveries to your tree. So I came across these unfinished attachments just a couple days ago when I was working on some attachments and sources in some of my ancestors in family tree. And I came across this blog article today that was written just a couple days ago, January 30th, 2020, by Rachel Trotter, and it is about the unfinished attachments. So you can actually go and search for this and find it in the blog and be able to read all about it. But I wanted to just do a short video to show you how you find this and how this works. So I'm going to go over to one of my ancestors, Grover Cleveland Privett, and this is his details page. So this is giving me all the information over here on his life sketch and his spouse and parents down here at the bottom when you scroll down. So it's the details page. And that's what's highlighted there. And as you come across, there's a timeline. But what we're going to talk about are these sources. This is where you're going to want to go right now to find the unfinished attachments. Maybe later they'll come up over here under research help, but right now you'll go to the sources. And once you get to the sources, these are the 10 sources attached to Grover Cleveland Privett. And if you just scroll down, can you see over here on the right-hand side, there's unfinished attachments, and they just come up. There's 3 of them, and I like that they really stand out over here on the right-hand side. And what you can do is you will just click on unfinished attachments and see what surprises you'll get. So this one that is coming up is the 1930 U.S. Census. And as you can see, this is on the left-hand side is the census, and you can look at that right up here if you're not familiar with the linker. And what someone has done, it wasn't me, is they went ahead and they attached these sources to the member of the family tree over on the right-hand side. And it's really easy to do. I'll show you in a minute. So they've attached all these sources, but the reason why it says unattached sources is because this is Lewis T. Huff, he's a boarder, and then this other W. Doubt Jones is also a boarder. And so they are not attached to anybody in the family tree. And the reason why is they're not really a part of this family, and it's hard to go and attach them. So it's something that you could do later, because typically these are members of the family that are related to each other. So that's why that's not there. So you probably won't want to do anything with this one, but let's go back or close this out. And this other one also just has some members of a different family, so they're not related. But let's go down to this last one, unfinished attachments down here. And what this is, it's a marriage record, a Virginia marriage record of one of Grover's children. Okay, so what you can do, just to kind of check this out and make sure you're comfortable with this, is you can look at the record, or you can also look at the image over here on the left-hand side. And I love doing this because I like to make sure that everything checks out, that it all makes sense to me when I start attaching them. And so as you can see, this is Ernest Griffin Privett, and he's marrying a Laura Cox Spiegelmeyer, and a maiden name is actually Laura Cox. And so he's divorced, so that already gives us information that he has another wife that we could look for. So that's already one thing that you can be aware of. And this actually lists his parents, and then over in the right-hand side, it lists Laura Cox's parents. And as you can see too, her last name is Spiegelmeyer, and if her maiden name was Cox, and that means she's been divorced also. So that also gives us another clue. So 2 clues there already of something that we can find that you can maybe add someone else to the tree. So let's go back though. That's the image, and it's always fun to check that out. So now what we can do, as you can see, that these attachments are already there for Grover Cleveland Privett and for Minnie Brown, which is Ernest's parents. And so what I can do now is just compare. And so I can see that he was Ernest Griffin Privett on that record, and that's the same name that I have over here. And you might find a variation, but you know, this is a pretty uncommon name, and so it's not as hard to match up. If it was a Smith, it would be more tough. And this shows the birth is 1918, which that checks out. So then I would put a reason to attach this source, like proof of marriage. Second marriage, I guess, since he was divorced. Okay, and then I would just attach that. And so now that source is going to be attached to Ernest when I go into him. Okay, now we've got these other people down here. Here is his new wife, his new bride, Laura Cox. And then these are Laura Cox's parents. So what we have to do, it's a little bit tricky. We are going to change this focus person right here. So what we are going to do is see if we can bring up Laura Cox. We're going to focus on her, and then I'll show you what happens. Actually, that is not. So right now, this Laura Cox is going to be attached to Grover Cleveland. So what we need to do is come over on this side and see if we can find. Okay, I don't see her. So what we actually need to do is change this person, change it to Ernest. We're going to do that. Sometimes you might have to do that, is change it around. So keep our fingers crossed that that works. Okay, so that one worked that time. And now what we can do is we can compare this. So Laura Cox and Laura Virginia Cox. And so this looks like the same person. It looks like she is already in the tree. So we're going to go ahead and say it's the proof of second marriage for her as well. Okay, now let's see if we can change this Laura, put her as the person, and look at what happens. Isn't this awesome? What happens is now we are focused on Laura Cox Spiegelmeyer, and you remember that she was Cox. And as you can see, it says that her mother is Laura, which that is probably wrong. Something that I'm going to have to look at and change, because now we know for sure that her mother is Catherine Teresa Burns. So, but what we could do right here, this is what's really fun, is look, she is not attached to her parents, or there's no parents for her in Family Search. So what I can do is go ahead and add her father. And what happens now is that Family Search goes out and looks through information, all of their ancestors, and they try to find a Sidney Hammersley Cox, and they haven't found one. And so we don't have any information from this record of their birth or birthplace. And since he was probably born, the daughter was born 1918, so he's probably born in the 1800s. So we know that he's going to be deceased. So we can go ahead and just click on deceased. And the reason why you believe he's deceased is that he was probably born around 20 years, 1898. So he's not going to be living now. He'd be really old. So now what we do is just click on create new person. And so what that's going to do is it will now have him for the father. And so we can go ahead. It's not really proof of Sidney's second marriage, but it is proof of Laura's father. So now we have that as Laura's father. And then this other one, let's go ahead and compare this Catherine Teresa Burns. I think I saw Laura as a mother. And so something that we would have to go and deal with a little bit, and because we would want to go and change the name since we know the name now. So something that we would have to do a little bit more with. But that is the unfinished attachments. And so that is what you can do. You can go in and finish attaching those. You can also dismiss it if there's not anyone on there that you need to attach. But I probably wouldn't dismiss it. I'd probably leave it there. Maybe you could go back and find out how those people are related, or find their parents as well. So anyway, that is the new feature. I hope you'll take time and take a look at it. It's really fun, and you may have new discoveries, what they say here. So anyway, have a great day.